Well, good afternoon to everyone on the call today. Thank you for joining us. We're glad to have you for our webinar, 5 Ways Digitalization Will Streamline Your Inspections Business. Before we get started, I'd like to share a couple of housekeeping items with you. First off, a recorded version of this webinar will be shared with you via email. We encourage you to share the recording with your coworkers and colleagues. Secondly, our webinar today will run about 30 minutes, followed by a question and answer session. Please ask questions as they occur to you. So if you do have a question, please submit it via the questions box on your GoToWebinar console. We will address all questions during the Q&A session at the end. Okay, with that said, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our presenter for today. Welcome, Nazrin. Nazrin Azari is the president and CEO of Floodlight Software, a cloud-based inspections management platform. She has 14 years of experience as a CEO and more than 20 years of experience in the software industry. Nazrin is also a thought leader who currently heads up the NDE 4.0 standards subcommittee within the American Society of Non-Destructive Testing. She holds an MBA and an MS in computer science, both from Duke University, and she is passionate about driving digital transformation to service organizations. Okay, without further ado, Nazrin, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Rhett, and thanks everybody for being here today. So today I'm going to talk about digitalization or digital transformation. I sort of use those two terms interchangeably and why it's really important for your inspections business. My personal background, as Brett mentioned, and my expertise is in software, process improvements, digital transformation, and mobility. And I really, like to make businesses better at what they do, and I've been doing that for 14 years. So I'm very honored to be here today and excited to share some of my experiences with you, and kind of start some really interesting conversation around making inspections better through digitalization. Just to give you sort of set your expectations, I'm going to spend the first half of today's presentation talking about your inspection business in general and how to think about the benefits of digitalization in a variety of different ways associated with your business. And then I'll dig into the 5 specific benefit areas that we advertised in the second half of the presentation. So I'm going to start off with a definition of digitalization, and I really like this one. There's hundreds of, or at least tens of definitions out there about digitalization and what it means. What I like about this particular definition is that it really talks and focuses on the business aspect of digitalization. It's not simply just digitizing data, although that is a part of it. Digitalization is really about creating a change within your business and making your business better through digital technologies. And there's a lot of opportunity for that in the inspections field today. And so that's really what we're going to focus on today. So when we talk about digitalization, the first thing that we think about are the technologies. And here are sort of a list of some of the technologies that we associate with digitalization. I'm not going to go into the specific details about any of these technologies in particular, but you'll recognize a lot of these. And I'm sure as you think about your business, you're thinking about digital twins, you're thinking about artificial intelligence, analytics, and virtual reality and augmented reality, and how can you bring these technologies into your business to make it better than it is today. So, obviously there's a lot of these technologies that are very relevant for your business, and I'm sure you're thinking about many of them. And today we're going to focus on how to use those technologies to improve your business operations and how to make your inspection business better. Because at the end of the day, that's really what's important. Another thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about is these concepts of Industry 3.0 and Industry 4.0. So these are terms that you may have heard already, and really these represent sort of the 4 industrial revolutions. The first one being humans using hand tools to make their work to be more efficient, using mechanical tools. The second industrial revolution revolved around electricity and using electrically powered tools. Industry 3.0 is really about digitization. So this is, eliminating paper processes and replacing analog processes with digital data, and starting to use computers and software and automation to help drive tools and run your operations. And so that's really Industry 3.0. Industry 4.0 is the emerging industrial revolution. And this is really around taking those digital systems, and instead of thinking of each digital system in a silo and operating just on its own, it's really about the interconnectedness of digital systems, the exchange of information, making machines and tools smarter so they can operate more autonomously. And really that's what Industry 4.0 is all about. And I look at Industry 3.0 and 4.0 as both being under this digital transformation umbrella. So that's sort of why I want to bring that into the conversation today. And now let's move to a discussion of why it's important to an inspection business. And here I'm just going to sort of lay the groundwork on the way that I perceive, the way that I look at the inspection business. And obviously this is a very simplified perspective, a high level view, but I'm looking at an inspection company as being in this ecosystem that includes industrial assets, includes the owners and operators of those assets, and the users of those assets. And you've got your asset owner operator that is responsible for an industrial asset. They need to operate that asset, perform maintenance, perform repairs, and construction, and all of those activities around building, creating, operating, and providing access to this asset. And then you've got a market out there that needs to use this. They could be individuals, they could be businesses, it could be an operation that basically needs to use the assets that are being provided by the asset owners and operators. And so that's sort of that side of the value chain. And the reason that we exist as inspection companies is to support that business. And so the asset owner operator hires an inspection company, and I am portraying this this entire system as if the inspection company is a third-party organization that services the asset owner operators, but that doesn't necessarily need to be the case. Most of the benefits and dynamics that we're discussing today also apply to internal testing inspection groups, and I know that some of you belong to those types of groups as well. And so the inspection company or the organization performs inspection work on the industrial assets and then provides inspection results and reports, fit for use certifications, things like that, back to the asset owner operator. And this, again, it's a very high level, but it really sort of depicts that value chain of entities that are involved in this whole process. And the next thing I want to dive into a little bit is a high level perspective of what inspection business does overall. And, like any other business, an inspection organization needs to develop and maintain a value proposition that's needed by its customers. And then it needs to provide that value in a profitable way. And so how can digital transformation help an inspection company get through its operations in a more effective way? So the first stage that I look at when I think of an inspection company organization is to get work. So that is, really represents your sales process, where you prove that you can meet or exceed the customer's needs, and that you can do the job better than any of the other available options. You might have references from previous customers. You might have previous experience with a customer that you're selling to. You might be able to show a history of success, and all these relationships are important. Your track record is critical. Pricing is also a big factor, especially in today's competitive market. And so being able to operate with efficiency and being able to stay profitable is really crucial in this business. You want to be able to propose work to your customer in a way that you are in the mix. You're not pricing it too high to price you out of competition, but you also need to remain profitable. So there's a lot of dynamics that are involved there. And we'll talk about some ways that digitalization can help you do that in an effective manner. The second part of an inspection business's job is basically at the performing works. This is the bulk of it. Really, this is where the rubber meets the road. Not only must you get the job done well and do good work, provide accurate and thorough data collection and interpretation, but you also must maintain safety for yourself, for others, for the environment, and you have to stay, again, you have to stay profitable in order to stay in business and continue doing work. And then finally, at the end of the day, after you've completed your job, or even at various touch points while you're operating, you provide results to your customer. And presenting results to your customer in the way that they want to see those results is going to ensure that that they're happy, that they're happy with your operations, your business. You're ensuring that you'll be considered for follow-on work the next time they need a project worked on. But are there opportunities for you to exceed your customers' expectations? Are there opportunities for you to generate so much confidence that when it comes to seeking another project, your customer will engage you without even looking at other options? So there's definitely opportunities all the way through your life cycle from end to end where you can use digitalization to effectively help you, improve your business in all areas. So now let's take a look at some of your biggest challenges. I sort of group them into 4 areas. The first being safety. Safety is crucial. It's crucial for keeping your business operating effectively. And the second area is efficiency. A lot of times when we think about digitalization, we definitely think about becoming more efficient as an organization. Effectiveness, making sure that you're doing your job correctly and with as much accuracy as possible is really important in an inspection business, crucially important to an inspection business. And then of course, providing value to your customer. And so let's look at the different ways where we can address some of the challenges in the market, and particularly thinking about digitalization and digital tools that can help us improve these areas. So for example, on the safety front, having fewer individuals on site by taking advantage of using drones or robots to help collect data in areas that might be dangerous for humans to perform themselves. And so, keeping the human hands off dangerous activities. I think, the biggest example I can think of is a drone operator taking pictures on a bridge and to do a visual inspection versus sending an inspector up there with a harness and hoping that everything's under control and he doesn't get hurt while he's up there. So there's definitely areas where you can use technology to protect your team and protect the environment. Another area that I like to look at are job safety assessments and making sure that obviously they're critical for your crew, they're critical for your business, making sure that they get performed effectively. One of the things that I promote heavily when we talk about digital solutions, and especially digital mobile solutions, is your ability to create a process and control your workforce from end to end, and being able to ensure that they're actually performing job safety assessments throughout the process is part of what you can do with a digital solution. Efficiency, as I mentioned, being able to perform your work with tools more quickly, and or being able to perform more work with fewer resources. As we all get crunched on the pricing and costing front, it's important to really maintain and grow our efficiency as we adopt new technologies. In terms of effectiveness, probability of detection is the name of the game in inspections, and making sure that you're doing the best job possible. And if you can take advantage of technologies such as intelligence augmentation or artificial intelligence to help augment human capabilities and provide better, more effective results, that's going to be really good for yourself and for your customers. Being able to use sensors on equipment to capture more frequent data points or a higher quantity of data points. More data is going to enable you to provide more value to your customers as well. And then finally, on the value front, just the collection of data, having more data to enable you to analyze, allowing you to provide some recommendations, some forward-looking recommendations to your customers will endear yourself to them, and make them look at you as their trusted advisor and come back to you when they want additional work done. That's a critical aspect of your business. So probably keep coming back to that piece of it in terms of providing value to your customers. So now let's move into the 5 specific benefit areas where we feel digitalization can affect your business. The first area is, and these are all really important to an inspection business. The first one is, the management of your inspectors and making sure that they're utilized as well as can be. Secondly is data capture and data management. There's a lot of data that's collected in an inspection process, and being able to improve the efficiency of data capture, the effectiveness of data capture, being able to manage that data, provide analytics, etc. That's a critical part of your business. I keep talking about profitability and maintaining a profitable business. That's obviously crucial for you to stay in business. And part of what enables you to do that is effective job costing. So being able to calculate your job costs effectively and accurately allows you to maintain profitability as a business. So that's really important. Reporting to customers, I think that is one of the things we hear all the time from our customers, is how crucial it is that customers receive reports and receive information in a way that makes sense to them, in a way that's actionable on their front. And so that's going to be a really important part of your business. And then finally, billing. How can you take advantage of digital technologies to enable you to bill faster, so that you can close the loop, the quote to cash loop, and shorten that timeline as much as possible. So we're going to talk about each of these in a little bit more detail. So let's start with inspector management and utilization. I've been helping customers with mobile workforce for a long time, and one of the things we hear, regardless of whether those field technicians are inspectors or whatever their expertise is, they really, really enjoy doing the work in the field that they were trained to do. So your inspectors are going to really enjoy doing the testing work that they do. They're going to enjoy the inspections and the analysis work that they do, the work that they were trained to do. What they're going to hate about their job is the administrative tasks that they have to perform, the keeping track of where they are and what time is it and how much time have they spent at a particular site or performing a particular task. So, as much as you can automate, if you can automate time stamping and geolocation stamping in a application that your technicians are using in the field, if you can require that data is only entered once, not in multiple applications, for example, so just minimizing those administrative tasks that are overhead and they're not really taking advantage of your technicians in terms of how they were trained. Combining human expertise with assistive technologies like AI is a great way to enhance their effectiveness. Using augmented reality. So field work is often physically challenging, and many inspectors who have been in the business for many years tire of that effort. They retire while they're still retaining a significant amount of knowledge around data analysis. And wouldn't it be great if you could set up an augmented reality environment where you could have an expert behind the scenes coaching and monitoring and helping out a newer technician that's just getting started in the business, who's actually in the field and maybe has a little bit more energy for that type of work. Efficient scheduling, being able to use digital technologies can help you become more effective and efficient in your scheduling operations. And then one of the other things I think is really important is consistent work processes and best practices. So being able to monitor your workforce and tracking the work that they do and the effectiveness and efficiency of the work they do helps you to generate a consistent work process for each of your customers, and then best practices for you to share with your newer technicians that you bring on board as you grow your company. So moving on to data capture and management, I think that this is, we've talked about drones and robots. Not only are those going to be, efficient manners of collecting data, but also, ways of providing a safer environment for your company and for your resources. Replacing paper. So replacing paper with digital data storage, that's sort of a step one digital transformation exercise that I encourage all of you to look into, because it's relatively straightforward and it's really, really important. And it is really a step one that sets the stage for a lot of the future benefits that you'll see. Data security is important. Short and long-term analytics is critical. And so, sometimes we'll talk to folks that are really not ready to dig into analytics at this point. What I would say is that where you want to start is just with collecting data. So you may not use that data today, but collect the data, because down the road, I mean, if any of you ever look at research papers or research that's done, a lot of times research today is based on data that was collected 10, 20 years ago. And they're looking at this old data and finding new ways to analyze it and come up with sort of new conclusions. And so think of it that way, that step one is setting yourself up to collect data, and then step two is figuring out how to analyze it and make the data work for you in a variety of different ways. So job cost calculations, this part is all about understanding your current profitability and areas that you may need to fix in order to improve. So your profitability affects your ability to close new projects and perform new work. So if you're guessing at your cost, then you risk bidding too high or too low, and missing out on good opportunities for your business. So being able to digitize and collect accurate job costs and knowing what your margins are allows you to create more profitable work proposals and create more accurate job cost calculations that will enable you to retain profitability, which is obviously crucial for maintaining your business operations. On this item of reporting to customers, this is all about providing as much value to your customer as possible and exceeding their expectations so that they'll want to rehire you for additional projects. So for example, if today you perform an inspection project that lasts, say, 3 weeks, and then at the end of that 3 weeks, you provide a report detailing the results to your customer, and I'm sure they're real happy to receive the report. Well, how do you think that they would react if they were able to see progress reports along the way? And if you're able to capture the data real time and present that data, even if it's preliminary data that's not, doesn't have your approval stamp, having them be able to see your progress as you progress through your inspection process can be very reassuring for a customer. Another thing that's really interesting to me is this concept of being able to provide a service to your customer that's more ongoing. So in addition to being, performing inspections, once or twice a year, maybe you can collect and track data that's coming from sensors on their equipment and being able to analyze that on a regular basis. So you're providing more real-time, forward-looking, proactive information for them. So there's a lot of ways that you can increase the value that you provide to your customers through your reporting capabilities. And then finally, on the billing front, the purpose of improving your billing process, really it's all about the entire business process from quote to cash. And the idea here is improving your cash flow, ensuring that you get paid timely and completely for all the work that you do. So similar to the job cost calculations, being able to bill more effectively is really all about getting all of your data into a digital system. Another thing this does for you is it increases your flexibility, your ability to support additional requests from your customers. When you're in the middle of a job, being able to, we all know that jobs often change right in the middle. We have a lot of customers that talk to us about change requests. And if you've got a flexible billing mechanism, you can handle those change requests pretty easily, and you can go with the flow. And nothing's better than an ability to say yes to a customer when they're asking you to do additional work, right? The idea of digitizing your process so that you can make your billing more effective. You're maintaining complete digital records. You've got everything in a single source of record, allows you to bill easily and quickly and completely. There's not any questioning about the work you've done, and it allows you to some flexibility in varying your offerings, and you can supply more value to your customers that way. So that's really all I had to share with you today. I know it was sort of a quick walkthrough of a lot of ideas around digitalization and how it can help your business. At the end of the day, it's all about providing better results more quickly and more cost effectively than you were able to do before. I like this summary of the benefits. It kind of hits all the 5 areas that we talked about. So with digitalization, you should expect to have a more efficient team, more knowledge, more ongoing knowledge that helps you become smarter in your own business and helps your customers become smarter. Obviously, maintaining that higher profitability level, providing more value to your customers, and then, minimizing that administrative overhead and allowing yourself better cash flow. So all that stuff is really important. And for those of you that look at this and think of this as overwhelming, keep in mind that digital transformation doesn't happen overnight. But if you want to stay relevant in the industry, it will apply to you. The nice thing is that you can digitalize your business in phases, and you'll certainly see benefits at each step of the process. I'll also say that digitalization never looks exactly the same for 2 different companies. So although it's helpful to look at other companies that are maybe in your industry that are already going through this process and starting to incorporate emerging technologies, that you really know your business best, and you're in the best position to evaluate your options and decide what's the next best step for your business. But I do appreciate you being here today, and one of the best places to start is learning more about the options that are available to you, and webinars like this is a great place to start. So thank you for joining me. I hope you learned something from the presentation today, and I'm also happy to chat with you further one-on-one if you'd like, and my contact information is listed here as well. And that's all I had.
Great, thank you, Nazrin. Great insight and thoughtful information. We do have some questions, so let's answer some of these now. If we don't get to your question, we will follow up with the person who asked it directly via email. Okay, Nazrin, here's the first question. Is it expensive and time-consuming to digitalize an inspection business?
So, I mean, certainly there's upfront costs in digitalization, but honestly, the ROI that you'll see is really fast. And again, as I mentioned just a minute ago, you'll typically take your business digital in phases. So you're not going to do it all at once. And at every step of the way, you'll see benefits. So you should definitely see an ROI. I would say even in a conservative way that you should see benefits within 6 months, if not before. And so, there is some upfront effort. The one thing that I will say that's really important is to have everybody in line and everybody on board with the project. So going digital is an effort, kind of across your business, and making sure that everybody's on the same page helps it go smoothly, and that's going to help keep the costs down and keep you on track and get the highest benefit possible.
Okay, great. Next question. Does digitalization always require internal business process change?
Really good question there. I would say that you should definitely expect that. I mean, in a lot of ways, digitalization enhances your existing processes, but there's definitely opportunity for you to improve your processes and make changes. So I would go into the effort with the expectation that your business processes will change, and look at it as a process change opportunity for the better. and look for areas where you're not quite as efficient as you'd like to be. And it's, you know, it's an opportunity for you to make your business better. So.
Okay, great. Next question. We have tried to go digital, but have to create custom reports for each one of our customers. Does your platform help with this?
Okay, good question. You know, we hear that from a lot of our customers, this idea that every single one of your customers has a different format that they want to see results in. And so we definitely understand that that's a really big challenge. Floodlight software does a really great job of handling custom forms. What I'd like to do is offer you to, we actually have a webinar coming up in about a month, in about 4 weeks, that's very specifically about our product, Floodlight Software, and how it can help through a digitalization process. And so I would encourage you to attend that. It's going to be held on July 8th, and I think Brett's got some more information about that coming up before we sign off today. But I would, you know, if you want to learn more about our platform, I recommend that you join us in a few weeks.
Okay, one more question. I think it was about all we'll have time for. So
Okay.
How will a digital process help my technicians be more efficient?
Well, there's a lot of ways. So I think one of the main things that I touched on earlier is reducing that administrative overhead. So, you know, giving them the digital tools that they need allows them to enter data once into a single platform so that they don't have to enter data multiple times, get them off of paper. So anytime that you can automate data collection or part of their process, you know, such as automatic timestamping, collecting of data through, you know, from existing tool sets, having a direct interface where you can collect information directly from your tool sets versus having to manually type it in. There's all sorts of areas to improve the effectiveness of the technician in the field, from eliminating or reducing the administrative overhead to sort of augmenting their work in the field, you know, through automating data input to providing artificial intelligence to remote technician support, or remote expert support. I think that's all we have time for. Right?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Nazrin. And that's it for the questions. We really appreciate all of you being here. Don't forget that we will have this follow-up webinar that Nazrin mentioned on July 8th. That will focus on the Floodlight Software Inspection Management Platform, and we'll also have a product demo. So look for registration information about that webinar in your email box this week. We will also send you the recording, as we mentioned, so you can share it with your colleagues. So thanks again, everyone. Have a fabulous rest of your day.